Phantom Radio Sports Show, back for another week. Now look, sometimes things don't go your way in life, and it's a true test of character as to how you respond to those things. For us, Ciaran's laptop hasn't started properly at the start of the show, and that's quite annoying. For Nottingham Forest, they thought they'd have a bit of a hissy fit this week if you've been living under a rock. We're going to talk a bit about that. But that's all after a bit of Happy Hour by the House Martins. Hello, we're back on air. Do you wish to reboot this programme? Says the screen in front of me. I can't do anything. There's no beds. We're moving swiftly into the show with silence underneath us apparently. Hello, this is the Phantom Radio Sports Show with me, Alfie Dickin, and him, Ciaran Morrison.
Hello, good to be here.
Professionally produced today. Again,
always has been.
As I say, when things don't go your way, it's all about how you react to them, and we're reacting to them with great professionalism and have yet to possibly defame anyone.
I'm writing the statement as we speak.
Indeed, which we will be sending off to the radio version of the PGMOL, as soon as possible. Do we have a rival station? I don't think we do. If we did, we'd say that the system on here is obviously a fan of that rival station and therefore is not working. We could drop out at any moment. It's not responding and it still wants me to close the programme. I don't know what happens when I do that, but we might just have to give it a go because currently we're sort of failing epically. Anyway, look, let's move on as if it's not happening.
Yeah.
And then if it does happen to be happening. We're also live on YouTube again this week. I think that might be a more reliable way of listening to us for the moment, because YouTube will keep running even when I shut this down, fortunately. So we will still be broadcasting to somebody.
And you still can't even listen to the music on YouTube anyway, so it doesn't really make much difference.
No, exactly.
So, yeah.
You can listen to the beds now. We've figured out a way of doing that. I know, the magic of technology. Anyway, look, let's pretend this hasn't happened and get on with the show. Ciaran, tell us a bit about Nottingham Forest.
Well, by the time I say what's happened, they'll probably release another statement something else would have happened. That seems to be the case at the minute.
That's true. I've never known a club release so many statements in such a short period of time.
Anyway, to start from the beginning, they went to Everton on Sunday. Big game, bottom of the table. You probably felt whoever win whoever won the match probably, would gain a bit of momentum, gain a bit of breathing space above the bottom three, especially after Luton lost on the Saturday. So Nottingham Forest went there, trying to get the 3 points, obviously. They lost 2-0, but the bigger picture was that, and they all involved Ashley Young, coincidentally, which I thought was quite funny. They had 3 penalty shouts, which they came out afterwards and said were all blatant penalties, all should have been given. There was a statement released from the club's Twitter account, although, put it bluntly, it's probably the owner who's done it, basically blasting the man behind VAR, the referee, basically just blasting the whole PGMOL operation. And they're not going down without a fight. They want change. Not sure what change they are going to get, and they're making themselves look very stupid at the minute, I think.
It's certainly one way to go about your business. Look, VAR as a thing is frustrating for most people, and I totally accept that. What I do not accept is that we suddenly launch into the world of conspiracy. It's really not the way to go about these things. A Luton fan.
Yeah. But actually, there was a good point though. What was the best result for Luton on Sunday?
Probably a draw.
Because either way, you've still got one team sucked into the relegation battle that they could overtake. So I'm not really sure there was a perfect result. The draw was probably the better result, but not really sure there was a... And Luton should have just won on Saturday and done their own business, shouldn't they? So
exactly. I'm not sure it had anything to do with Luton at all. It's a strange claim. Also reported that after the statement that said that they told the PGMOL that the VAR was a Luton fan, that they actually... Oh, by the way, they did not tell them that. As just a slight... addendum to the fact that they put a statement out saying that they'd said something. So A, they're telling the world that they've said something. B, it's a lie, it would seem, apparently now. Or, at least it's dubious, according to multiple sources. So defamation and lying could be there.
They're going to get in trouble, aren't they?
It's an odd choice. An odd choice that I don't think anyone at Forest who isn't possibly the owner, most likely the owner, has made that decision. Because if you're the social media guy,
hasn't done that.
I think you are saying, are you sure? Are you how certain are you that you want to say this? You want to libel one specific person and a whole organisation for no reason. It just doesn't look good, does it? Look. No. Also, if anyone felt like they had a bit of sympathy for Forest, who, if you're not a Forest fan in this race and you thought, oh, maybe I do, quite like them a bit, I think that's all gone out the window now, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it has. The only thing I will say in their defence is I think the third penalty shout on Callum Hudson-Odoi is a penalty. That's all I will say.
And all I will say
that was a penalty.
Is I don't think it matters.
No, because they still wouldn't have won the game. Everton were 2-0 up anyway.
It's not really the point,
1-2-0.
I don't think. Yeah. Other teams have had decisions that have gone against them this season.
Well, Forest say that they've had the most, though.
And it's fine to think that maybe VAR hasn't worked to the way that you want it to, or, there's errors there. But you can't go accusing people of essentially cheating, which is just utterly baseless. And then to parrot on lines about how, it threatens the integrity of the league. Well, I don't think you're showing any integrity whatsoever in the way that you're acting. There is a professional way of going about that, and it doesn't involve airing all your dirty laundry in public and looking like you're sort of whining about it.
Yeah. And they should just do better on the pitch,
possibly force legal action against themselves. Not the best way to react, I would say.
Because I also thought the other two penalties weren't penalties. I thought the first one, there wasn't enough in it. And I thought the handball, was a bit too close for Ashley Young to really do anything. Because the ball's coming over his head. So he's obviously looking at the ball thinking, where's it going to go? And then it's such close range, I don't think he's got enough time to get out of the way or whatever.
I think as we say, the point that really hits the nail on the head here and goes, right, now we can stop having this conversation in such a ludicrous way and think about it logically, is what was the best result for Luton there. And it's not necessarily clear either way, because one of those two teams, Everton or Forest, could be the one that gets dragged into the relegation battle. All that Luton need to happen is for one of them to do that. Whoever wins on this occasion would just be the team that doesn't get dragged in. It doesn't matter which one's which.
They don't care.
Why would it? Oh, it just makes no sense whatsoever. At all.
Anyway, looks like it's Forest, which are the ones, dragged in. 1 point above the relegation zone.
They've done all they can to make people want them to go down now.
Well,
so,
now I want them
congratulations.
To go down. Not just because they spent all that money and they're a bit of a farce in terms of how many players they sign. This is just another whole new debacle.
It just baffles me. Why are you adding more confusion and just reason for people to hate you? There's one thing in a us against the world sort of policy that can really work in some ways, especially in a relegation battle. I'm not sure this is quite that. It's not quite creating the right kind of us against them. No. It's conspiracy nonsense, which is probably not the way that you want to do it, really, is it? Let's be honest. Look, again, things go wrong sometimes. In the heat of the moment, people say things, but sometimes, I'm going to say this, sometimes you can just not tweet. That is an option. Sit on it for a minute, maybe write a sternly worded email or something.
Privately.
Just don't tweet about it. It's
I do think,
heck of a decision,
that they should release the audio. What do you think?
I think in all cases, transparency...
It won't do anything, but
transparency is always quite a good goal to aim for in these scenarios. But I just think, if anything, just the mere fact that they've sort of attempted to hound them into transparency makes me feel like they should just not release them.
Well, an hour ago, Nottingham Forest have been offered a chance to privately hear the VAR audio from Sunday's match.
Yep. Imagine doing something in a sort of logical, well thought out, calm way behind closed doors without airing the dirty laundry immediately. That would be a wild way to go about things. Yes, I applaud that approach. I don't think we need to be releasing tapes in an aggressive manner. There have been moments this season where people have asked for tapes to be released, and they have, and I think it is right that we're transparent about these things, especially in a competitive environment where serious money is on the line. Let's not forget here, and promotion and relegation is a massive thing for clubs, and in some cases life-changing and job affecting. So obviously it's a big, really crucial thing, and these results have to be correct, and we can't have any cheating if there was any. But there's a way of going about figuring out whether that's happening or not, and transparency, although it is always wanted, there's a way of asking politely for a bit of transparency instead of possibly causing legal action against yourselves while you're at it. Look, it was so there's the negative of the week out of the way. We will probably come back to it. But after our little escapade of trying to start the show normally a moment ago and it not working and this whole system collapsing, I'm going to go through again. We're going to play a song, and then we're going to come back to our weekends, which I believe were a tad more positive. Let's just put it that way. There we go. We're back on the airwaves. David Cameron there bringing us in. Sorry, Lord Cameron. Famous West Ham. Sorry, Aston Villa. Oh, screwed up moment by him there. Thanks for bringing us in, David. Just a catastrophe of a man.
It happens in those moments, mate. Calm heads just don't prevail.
Sometimes you just accidentally forget who you support. That happens
We've all
to
done that.
All die-hard football fans occasionally will just go, oh, no, I meant to say Stoke. Why did I say Port Vale? It just happens. Just throwing this one out there. Have fun in League 2 next season, Port Vale. Darren Moore, not quite prevailed. We may move on to that later on. But happier news now. Well, not that that isn't happy news for me, but slightly happier news now because I had quite a good weekend.
Come on, Alfie. Tell us about it. In Manchester.
Yes. So
always good when you go to Manchester.
As mentioned before on this show, we both are part of the media team for Derby County Women, and all season we've been plugging away, going to the games in the third tier of women's football and loving it pretty much every moment of it.
Some grounds are better than others.
Yes,
let's
I
be
would
honest.
say there were some games in there that were
yeah, there needs to be some ground grading rules, I think.
Tough tests involved, both from a sort of watching point of view when you're sort of supporting the team and going, oh, this is a real scrappy affair.
And where to set up a camera.
That is true. At some of these grounds, it is difficult to know because it is just sort of, there's no stands, is there? Some of them, so you've got to figure it out and you've got to make it look as good as you can from a bad angle. But anyway, we're getting bogged down in the wrong details here. Reset. This weekend, I went to sunny Manchester, and that is not me being sarcastic. It was genuinely a lovely day in Manchester, because why wouldn't it be? In the sunshine. Yes, I'm sure we can have a bit of Oasis to celebrate in a moment. And I went to Manchester and saw Derby County Women lift a trophy.
Wow.
A 3-0 win in the FAWNL.
First ever trophy, isn't it?
Plate final was indeed their first ever piece of silverware. A great day all round, I've got to say.
I think that deserves a round of applause from our...
Oh, yes, for our applause system thing.
If it's working, actually.
Yeah. Hey, look, it could all collapse on us at any moment. But I feel the applause is not quite as jubilant as it could be. We'll go with this instead.
Yeah. Well done to Sam and the whole team.
The usual correct answer sting there. Yes, indeed. Really
a lovely set of people, so
really well deserved, I think. Sometimes in a season, especially where there have been a few ups and downs and moments where you think it just isn't quite clicking for you, to be able to power all the way through to a final and just have that moment as a group is quite a special thing.
You could see what it meant to them.
Exactly, you definitely could. And the supporters, got supporters coach on to go all the way to Manchester.
Was it a good turnout?
And yeah, quite a decent group of people there singing away for the full 90. A great game to report on against Cambridge United, who Derby County as a club have had quite a decent weekend against. Of course, the men playing them on Saturday and winning 1-0 away from home, which of course puts the fate of promotion in their hands.
1 point away.
Yeah, just a point away
and
from
they're
going
playing
up.
Against bottom of the table Carlisle. So if they don't do that, they deserve to be in the playoffs.
Yes, that is true.
Be honest.
You've got to take that chance with both hands. But they've put themselves in that position, which is the best thing that they could have possibly done against Cambridge United on the Saturday, and then on the Sunday the women's team 3-0 win. It was nice and comfortable, and that is what you want, I've got to say.
That's good.
It was clearly, Cambridge were a testament to them, obviously turned up and wanted to be difficult to play against, and identified Becky May, who's a really good playmaker with the ball, and when she has it, she can whack one with quite some power into the back of the net, and she can find a pass well. And they just had a player just marking her out of the game for pretty much the whole of it, literally just following her every move. And so they made it difficult as difficult as they could, but in the end, class told, and Derby, 3-0 victory. a penalty in the 30th minute, a goal a few minutes after that from Amy Sims, and then in the second half a screamer of a goal from Emily Joyce from
I saw
just,
that.
I think
That was
just in front of the halfway
cracker.
line. Quite a decent strike, and what a time to choose to score your first goal of the season in a final, and for it to be
that good.
quite the hit. Great day. Just wonderful. I've got to say,
I saw the pictures afterwards for you, the
post-match
trophy.
interview involved me getting soaked with champagne and sort of whisper it because media lone hub, but almost worrying about whether there was going to be champagne all over that camera. So, oh God, please don't take the camera. Please don't take the camera. But luckily, we're all good. We're all
okay. That's good. They haven't questioned the smell of champagne on camera.
No, it got away with it. Luckily, it all went on. Well, most of it went on the manager, and then some of it ended up on me. But we were all good. It's quite the way to.
Hope they're not listening to this now, though.
They won't be. But it's fine. It's fine. Great day. These things just sort of build up to, because the plate, for those who are unaware at this level, is the competition that you end up in if you go out of the determining round for the League Cup. And Derby, from the start of it, looked at the plate fixtures once they ended up in it, and you go, they should be able to win this. And so it's, in one sense, it's like it's an absolute goal that you have to set yourself, and because you look at the group of people who are in the group of teams that are in the pool that you're against and say, we've got a pretty decent chance of coming away with something here. But in sport, and in a final especially, sort of what level and what league you're at doesn't matter anymore, does it? What? I couldn't see that.
Well, see it.
Sorry, we'll move on. I'm sure people on the cameras could see that. I don't know whether YouTube was working. It sort of bugged out a bit a minute ago. But yeah, wonderful day. A thing that you build up to, and as I say, in a final sometimes it doesn't matter what level teams are at, and you can be undone by another team. So to show up and just be, I think from minute one, just so confident. In training, you could just tell how up for they were, and you were just like, I think from the moment I got there, and well, not the moment I got there earlier than everyone. I got there ludicrously early and had to walk around sunny Manchester for about an hour and a half before the team coach actually arrived. But it is what it is. We like being early is better than being, late. So
yes,
we had a
100%.
I was able to relax and get into it. And then as soon as they all arrived and started training, you could just tell. I think
they wanted it.
Yeah, I could just tell they were going to win, to be fair. And they just, they were really on it.
And there was a little bit of pressure on them, because obviously you expected them to win. Yeah.
And they just sailed past that like it wasn't even an obstacle and just went for it. It was great, I've got to say. Your weekend was alright as well. You were in a press box.
I was at Aston Villa. Villa v Bournemouth in the Premier League. Beautiful day. Sunny day. Yeah. I will just say to Aston Villa, please can you make signage a top priority for how to get to your
Did you get lost?
Press room? No, it's just a small door on the side of the ground. There's no sign. There's nothing anywhere telling you where it is. So I'll just say that.
Right, we're heading into a song. This is our tune of the week. Taylor Swift with Fortnite. We'll be back afterwards. And we are back. We've been joined by a special guest, Alex Walker. Thanks for joining us.
No worries, thank you for having me.
How are you doing? We've just been talking about how I spent my Sunday with the Derby County women's team, lifting a trophy at their... You had quite a good weekend as well, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Double trophy weekend for Derby women. So our under-18s were down in Worcester playing JPL national final, and we prevailed 3-1 against Ascot.
Pretty decent 2 days there. Well, probably overall for Derby County as a club, it's quite decent, isn't it? As we mentioned just before we went to a bit of Taylor Swift there. Of course, the men's team won in Cambridge on the Saturday. You also won with the women's under-18s, and then a plate at the end of it. It's all looking quite rosy, isn't it? It was a nice sunny weekend for it as well.
Absolutely. No, I think the club's in a good place. I think, as you saw with sort of David Cloyes and Stephen Pearce both being at the game on Sunday as well, I think how together the club is, and across both the male and female pathways, there were some certainly positive results.
So obviously we should establish who you are first of all. It's probably a good thing for the listeners to know. So obviously you're the football development officer, is that the right
That's
title?
correct, yeah.
For the Derbyshire FA, and also, as you say, a coach there with the under-18s of Derby women. Also, another thing we talk about a lot on this show, due to Ciaran's allegiances, is Celtic. Would you like to disclose your horse in that race?
Yeah, well, we'll see. We're both sat on the same side of the room here, so I think that's a dangerous position.
Alfie should have been in between.
I think so. No, I'm a Rangers fan since born and bred Rangers fan. My dad's from Glasgow, so I had no choice in the matter. So things are tight this season, but I think that his lot will end up doing it.
Tough, isn't it?
That's pretty true, though.
Tough old time. You're quite happy to hear that, aren't you?
Very, yeah. Hope it wasn't as close.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Well, from a neutral perspective, it's always nice to see leagues that are normally quite wide being slightly narrowed. So, actually, I think you're wrong. Is all I'm going to say.
Well, I was up at the Old Firm a couple of weeks ago, the 3-3 game, and that was, I think, a really great advert for what the Old Firm is, and it was a real throwback of an Old Firm game, to be honest, because I think we've lost a little bit of its edge in recent years, especially with the no away fans rule, and that's something that's coming back next season in terms of having away support, which I fully support. I know that we started it, but I think both clubs needed to grow up a little bit and bring that back. So I'm looking forward to seeing the colour back in the Old Firms, because I think we've certainly lost an edge to the game. I don't know if Ciaran agrees with that.
No, I actually agree with all that.
Yeah.
Well, I think we spoke about that game after it happened, and it was, like you say, a proper sort of throwback to what you want Old Firm.
But it would always be better with away fans at either.
Well, it gripped you from moment one, didn't it? A goal in like 20 odd seconds.
Totally. I remember it was a really windy day, and you could tell, obviously, the everything, all the emotions of the game, nobody had really settled, and Maeda went through and Tavernier tried to clear it, and the wind just caught it and it swirled in within 20 seconds. But there's such an eerie feeling to the stadium, and that's the second time I've been now to Ibrox with no Celtic fans when they've scored, and I've just never heard silence like it, and it's almost like, did that happen? Is that a goal? and I think the Rangers support and the Celtic support suffers without the away support as well. There's almost that, if there's just been a goal, you have to then pick yourselves up as a support to, battle against the noise that's coming from them. And I just think the fixture's so much better with both sets of fans there, and certainly I think that was reaffirmed when the game I was there, because all three Celtic goals were just such an eerie feeling with you can hear Brendan Rodgers. That's how
it's like that is almost
Yeah.
It is almost worse than hearing the cheers of opposition fans from the other side. I mean, as mentioned previously, and every week as much as possible on the show, I am a Stoke fan, and I've got to say, every time I've gone since we've been relegated to the Championship, it is just like allowing an away end to take over a whole stadium sonically. There's sort of, we basically, atmosphere-wise, absolutely died a death in the Championship, and so you sort of just allow the away end to own it for the whole game pretty much. And in a sense, if someone said, would you like to get rid of all those people? I think it might have actually helped us on some occasions, because the home crowd were just so not up for getting up for it. But then, look, the soul of football, that's what you want in a proper derby like the Old Firm. You don't get any more proper than the Old Firm, do you? So you want that atmosphere there to really drive it on.
No, totally. And I think it's just, with recent years, I think Ciaran hopefully will admit the gap has got smaller than what it was, and there's been some really good well contested Old Firms that with both sets of supporters could really have been quite memorable, but without them I think they definitely lose that edge.
Yeah, the Old Firm has got a lot closer in recent years, and we still got 2 more to come, which I think again are going to be, especially the cup final one.
Well, absolutely.
I think that will be.
It's funny really because close. It's actually, you think about Rangers, and a lot of the perception here naturally is that Rangers and Celtic play too many times, which I think there's an element of truth to it, especially the 4 league games a season. I think, again, my personal opinion is that an expanded league would be better for the whole game in Scotland. That would mean a home and away fixture. But in terms of Scottish Cup finals, the Rangers and Celtic actually haven't met since 2002. So that's the first.
I haven't had one in my lifetime.
Yeah, there you go. So I was really surprised to read that. And the last time we won, and it was Peter Lovenkrands sting in the tail. I remember the commentary.
Yeah, it's weird to sort of. That's sort of a fact that you just assume would not be true at all.
Yeah, I didn't think it was true. I had to go through it. I was like, what?
22 years since Rangers and Celtic have met in a Scottish Cup final.
Yeah, they seem to play each other every week. I mean, as a game to be played every week, it's always quite a decent watch. I find. So, sometimes, and this is the problem with, the broadcasting of Scottish football, but also with Premier League games as well. When someone tells you, there's going to be Palace against. I was about to say Wolves then, but I'll back off that. Because Pete will be listening, I imagine. Think of another mid-table team anyway, and you advertise that, and you go, I don't know if I can be bothered to watch that. And then there's a big game on, and obviously you do. In the Scottish leagues, it's obviously a massive thing. If you're one of the teams that are sort of lower mid-table in the Scottish league, you probably hate the fact that the only games that ever end up broadcasted on Sky tend to be Celtic and Rangers games. And so obviously you understand the annoyance there. But if you're sitting down for, I don't know, Kilmarnock against St Johnstone of a weekend, I imagine I don't think it's quite the guaranteed goal fest that maybe the Old Firm is.
It's different. I'll always try and defend Scottish football where I can. I think it's obviously in terms of quality. I think there's huge disparity between what we have in England and what there is in Scotland, but you've got to play to your strengths, and Scottish football has got a lot of tradition. It's exciting, it's full-blooded, it's real. And I've got to say, I think the supporters, most clubs are extremely.
Is there one?
Extremely admirable. I don't know. I think you saw Aberdeen lost there in the semi-final weekend, but Aberdeen last minute equaliser to take it to extra time. Some of the scenes in that end, were great. So I think the Hearts and Hibs games as well. They're massive.
The Dundee Derby next season.
I think there is games that mean a lot to a lot of people. That certainly could be good watches. But I think we're slowly improving in Scotland in terms of the offer and the quality. But I can understand people's views down here in terms of the quality at times.
I just think when maybe it is not the actual football that's the problem, but the selling of it that's the biggest issue.
Point. Yeah, it's a good point. I think, without going into too much sort of SPFL bashing, I think there's people in roles there that undersell the game. You talked about sort of Rangers Celtic games being the only games televised. There was twice this season where an Edinburgh Derby's not been on Sky Sports, which beggars belief. I think it's a huge game for for everyone in Edinburgh, capital of Scotland. It would be watched by people down in England. It still has the full stands of away supporters as well, so the visual of that's great as well. And all of the games have been exciting. So I think for a league like the SPFL, not to have your second biggest game televised is just a dereliction of duty, really.
Yeah, definitely.
Totally
It's something that you are au fait with at the minute, isn't it? Because you're
dissertation
writing a dissertation on it. What is it? The disparity in
basically
you
disparity
can
in
describe it,
financial
it's your
in finances between the two leagues, basically.
All right.
And why England receives more money. Well, the Premier League receives more money than the Scottish Premiership.
I'll be interested.
Pretty
to
much.
read that.
Yeah.
What are your thus far? I know you haven't finished it yet, but what are your sort of
there's a big
findings?
disparity.
I mean, there is a disparity,
And obviously it helps, when Sky Sports pump more cash into it and broadcast more games, but also just European. There's obviously more chance for the Premier League clubs to play in Europe, so then obviously you get more money that way as well. So it's more exposure more than anything,
definitely,
on all accounts.
I think the winning of the title in Scotland is going to get even more important than usual with the revamped Champions League. There's still, this is the final season where the winners will go automatically into the group stage, or the new league phase as they now call it, with added financial incentives, 2 more games I think than normal they're guaranteed, which to clubs like Rangers and Celtic is huge. You can be guaranteed another 2 home games in Europe with full capacity revenues plus TV, etc. So I think it's for essentially a 2-team title race, it's even more so on the line than ever because of those reasons. But having lost the coefficient now, this is the final season where that'll mean that they can go directly in. So this season's massive.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shake up there. Obviously, in your sort of role, you're involved more in grassroots football. Yeah. I think a lot of conversations that we have on this show about football can go down a route where you go, oh God, it's all a bit depressing, and sort of financials are obviously the big story now, and everyone knows far too much about finance in football, and because of Chelsea's transfer policy, people know what amortisation is, and it's all big money and all that kind of jam. But at grassroots level, do you feel positive about the future of football?
Yes and no. Largely yes. I say yes and no because I'll qualify that in a minute. But yes, in terms of when you go down now, for instance, at the Racecourse Hub that is open down in the middle of Derby, and the boys and girls leagues across Saturday and Sunday, the amount of football that's played there, the amount of smiling faces across all the age groups, it's a phenomenal facility, and so good to see how much football gets played there. I still have worries over just the way that some coaches have still approached the game at grassroots level. I think it's still getting more and more contaminated by people who are hell bent on winning, at the expense of player development, especially in grassroots, it's sad for me. Working directly in grassroots, you want the enjoyment of the game to underpin everything, and I feel like we're slowly eking that out of it, which is really sad, because there's just been more and more cases through my desk this year where kids have been marginalised because they're not good enough from teams, and told to go away and increase match awareness without playing games, and it's like, how is that going to happen? A bit of a counterproductive statement, but so I don't want to be too negative, because I think there is so much good work happening grassroots, lots of great volunteers and lots of good football happening, but just more and more I can see coaches at the younger and younger age groups focused on winning rather than player development, which I think is quite sad.
Quite an interesting thing to think about, really, because I suppose at the top level, we were talking about Forest at the start of the show for obvious reasons this week. Obviously, if you're listening and not aware of that story, where have you been? But the reason why clubs at the top level react to things like this is because the money is so big, and the competition, obviously, it matters so much. And if you are getting to a professional level and playing in the Premier League, every game matters, every point matters, and it's a massive, massive deal. But at the bottom, when you're starting out, you want people to be introduced to football not as this sort of behemoth of financial might and sort of terror. You want it to be sort of a nice thing for people, don't you?
Totally, I couldn't agree more. I think the first experience is so crucial for everyone, and you want that first experience to be non-pressurized. You want it to be completely focused around enjoyment and development, like I've said. And I just think there's quite a few coaches in it for themselves, maybe, from an egotistical point of view, and that should never be the case. So we try as a county FA anyway to address these things and open people's minds to the fact that equal game time, for instance, is such a key thing. I think one of the problems we have is that the 50% play is guidance at the moment from the FA. It's not prescriptive. I'd love to see it be prescriptive and mandatory across the leagues, and certainly with the work that we do in the coach development space, we'll be highlighting how we feel about it as a county FA to try and address some of that, because I think at under 8s, 9s, 10s, I'm sure you'll agree that at 50% game time should be a minimum.
Yeah, I think it shouldn't be about, as you mentioned, it shouldn't be about winning, but it should just be about sort of the community feel of it, shouldn't it, really? If it's a club that you go to, it doesn't have to be a football club. If you went to, Scouts, which is how, some kids spend their sort of social time, they'll all be asked to go tie the knot, go and start a fire, no one's going to go because you can't do it, then they go, oh well, you're not allowed to be involved anymore. So it's only fair that you give these people these chances, and kids are, in a development stage. You can't tell them you're just not good enough so you can't get involved. It's, football should be fun at the end of the day. I think most people who go on to be professional footballers loved the game first, and you don't want to be putting people off their initial love of the game, and it shouldn't all be about going on to be professional, should it?
That's it, absolutely. And I think you hit the nail on the head there, but also it should be for everyone, and the grassroots game should be about that, should be about inclusivity across all aspects and corners of society. And I understand, I think there's this question around mixed football and whether it works for anyone, because I don't think it helps the ones that are striving and want to get better and want to develop at that top level, and I don't think it certainly helps the ones that are struggling, who can't cope. So I think mixed football is a problem in that sense, because the two ends of the scale there aren't serviced. The ones that probably fit in are the ones that just survive and coast around the middle, because they get the experience of both, so they're probably the ones that are comfortable with mixed football. But the grassroots game, there's enough clubs now, there's enough people involved to find a space where you can you can get in a team that's suitable and for your ability level and what you want to do. But there has to be two-way communication if you're from the coach to say if they are going down the route of wanting to win everything, they have to make that very clear to parents, because I think there's still kids and parents going into teams unaware of what the coach's stance is, and then you have these breakdowns and issues that arise, which I don't think should happen at that level.
Yeah, because obviously if you are aspiring to be a professional footballer and you do meet that level, you do want a bit of competitiveness, don't you? But obviously if you want your child to go and play football, you want them to go and have fun while they're at it, so
totally. I think
that needs to be an option.
For us, it's the message that we've had is football is competitive, naturally competitive. You don't set your teams up to lose football games. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is it can't be at all costs, winning at all costs, especially at that age group. If you want to win a game by whatever the way that you're playing, but then you've abused the referee because the decision's gone wrong, you've abused your centre back because he's given the ball away, what impact's had on those two individuals, the young referee, the young centre back. Okay, you've won the game, but you've left behind a trail of some real negativity there. So I think that's the key thing. We're not telling coaches at grassroots go and lose games. That's not what we're saying. Football's naturally competitive, and we want obviously that natural competition, but it can't be win at all costs at those age groups. It has to be based around, like we said, participation, inclusivity, enjoyment, fun, and community. As you mentioned, I think it's massive, and we've got more and more clubs that are community clubs, growing teams that are the hub of the community and doing some fantastic work. And we just don't want these sort of rogue coaches, let's call them, ruining that for the majority.
I think one party that you mentioned there that possibly, obviously we do talk about a lot in football, but whether they're considered in the same light as maybe you talk about kids being overly sort of coached, and coaches could have a go at some, but referees are a big party in football, and if there isn't a referee, a football game doesn't happen. We talked again about Forest there, and the VAR. The whole thing about VAR involves people getting angry, and refereeing in general seems to involve people getting angry, especially at the top level. But at the bottom level,
God, they're worse, aren't they? Oh.
But at the bottom level, when you are ultimately just either a Sunday league team or a lower league team or a kids team who are just kids who are developing into the game, how difficult is it, do you think, to get referees who are A, good, and B, have a good experience when they're refereeing? Because it seems to me that abuse of referees goes up and down the pyramid.
Oh, totally, yeah. The amount of referees we have in the county is good. Our coverage, in certain aspects, could be better. We have a situation where we've got a lot of young referees coming through courses, showing an intention to want to be a referee, which is great. But we have to protect that desire and that first sort of real want to be a referee by making sure the experience is positive, because if they go and referee a game at 15, 16 years of age and are abused, they won't want to referee again, and we lose that referee, and then the same coaches will have that will complain into the league when they don't have a referee in the next week and they have to referee themselves. So there has to be a responsibility from everyone involved at that level to make that experience as positive for the young referee as possible. I think the Sunday football environment's slightly different. I think naturally it's a more difficult space to referee into. I don't think it's ever going to change. Sunday football is what it is, and again, there's some great sides to Sunday football, participation, community. We had our Sunday Senior Cup there at Matlock recently, and both teams were fantastic, and families come down to watch it, and they all conducted themselves great. But you wouldn't put a young first-time referee in that environment straight away, but that's probably the most difficult space in terms of getting referees through to.
So possibly a difficult question, maybe a thinker, but if there's one thing that you could change about football that you think would improve it entirely, if you could change it tomorrow, the whole question about, if you were president of the world for a moment, or president of football for a moment, what would the one thing that you'd change that would make it better? Hey, I thought we'd go in hefty.
Yeah, this is a big question, yeah.
I think I'll keep it around the game time aspect. I really do feel strongly about this. I think at the grassroots level, I would love to see an across the board rule that meant up to a certain age group, and I'm not entirely sure where your cutoff would be, but I'm going to go as far as something like under 14 and say from under 8s to under 14s you have to have 50% play of everyone who's involved with that team, because there's nothing that I hate more than seeing kids upset and marginalised from teams, and through solely because of the desire of a coach to go and win. I think a grassroots game, like we've mentioned, should be a lot more than just winning, and I think we would see a lot more smiling faces and positive experiences of grassroots football if that was the case.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, I absolutely threw one at you. You've had time to think. Go on.
Oh, what? What's the question again? If I could change anything.
If you could change one thing about football to make it better, what would it be, Ciaran?
Just get rid of VAR.
Fabulous. There we go. I mean, someone had to say, didn't they? I suppose it's sort of, it's a Route 1 approach.
That means we would have won the Old Firm then.
Hey, look. No fighting. Okay. No fighting.
I mean, Rangers wouldn't get as many penalties.
Oh my God.
A
fight is going to break out in the studio.
Probably didn't get one against Dundee at 0-0.
This is the cure with Friday I'm in Love. Please stop punching each other.
Well, the camera needs to just come a bit.
Hello, we are. We're back.
Yeah.
Not on air. We're just back on the YouTube stream.
Yes.
Because we thought we would. That was Alex Walker.
I really enjoyed that
us.
conversation, actually.
Yeah, despite him being a Rangers fan.
Well, he spoke some sense, which is.
I was going to say I do think sometimes we're too negative about football, but then we sort of were still in a sense there. But I think positive in some senses as well.
Anything can always get better.
It's a sort of really butchered version of the election 97 moment there. Anything can sort of get better. I'm not sure it would have sold quite as well for Mr. Blair, but yeah, it's all good. We've got the quiz coming up.
Yes.
The usual quiz that we do, which is just
the Wikipedia.
Just Wikipedia player quizzing, really. Ciaran's got a theme this week. I've got not a Scooby about.
Because we went to a pub quiz last night, so I've been inspired.
Inspired by one of the rounds in this pub quiz, which was
too niche.
It was too niche. Yes, that's what. So it was. What was it? It was like cars
named
that
after
are sort
places.
of loosely named after places, but one of
but
the
all
questions
the cars
wasn't
always seem to be like from the 20th century. Like there was none that were actually in our lifetime, so we didn't really stand a chance as we're not car people.
Ford some things, and once I'd said Capri, I couldn't remember Cortina, and we guessed correctly on the Ferrari California question, I think.
Yeah.
I can't remember what any of the questions were. They were just quite random.
They were just too old for us.
Strange, but it was not our jam.
What this guy drove in some 70s.
Yes, Starsky and Hutch or something.
Never
watched it for obvious reasons, because we're not about 80 years old. But there you go. It's probably absolutely slammed some people there who.
We're sorry if Pete Landry likes Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah, I don't think I really classily avoided lambasting Wolves during that conversation. I just couldn't think of a sort of boring mid-table team. I don't think Wolves are actually that boring to watch. I just also Palace aren't anymore now that Roy's gone, are they? So
West
maybe I
Ham are now
was
boring.
being a tad harsh. Anyway, we're coming back in on the radio in a moment, where we'll be quizzing. I'm on the wrong way.
Wikipedia quizzing time now, and I've got 3 more Wikipedia players playing careers to go through,
and I'm going to be challenged first of all. So last week I did mine on a theme. That theme was people called James. It's a great theme. It's not like an in-depth theme, but they had a link essentially. This is of course the Wikipedia football player quiz. It's relatively self-explanatory, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yep.
It's literally just you go through their career. I've got to try and guess who they are. That's it. That is all it is.
You can play along at home and send us message in how you do.
Yes, tell us how you do.
We'd love to hear from you, of course,
would be,
on our social media channels,
which are at Sport on Phantom on X, which I don't think we've posted on in about 2 months.
I did see
which
that
is
in
crime,
February,
but,
since Arlo 1 came on.
And also at Phantom Sports Show on Instagram. Follow us there for all your Phantom Sports Show needs, whatever those needs are. I'm not sure that extensive, let's be honest. But the football player Wikipedia quiz it's a highlight of our show.
It is the moment where I get embarrassed.
It takes little preparation for a lot of embarrassment. So I'll be in the hot seat first, shall I?
Yes.
Ciaran, you're the quiz master here.
I am indeed. Shall we get on with it?
We shall.
So this ex-player of the game started his career at Crystal Palace.
Okay. That is the same thing that you told me this time last week.
I do remember that.
And my first guess this time last week wasn't correct, so I'm going to go for it again in the hope that you've pivoted and say Ian Wright.
No, it isn't Ian Wright.
Okay.
But maybe that could have been reverse psychology.
Mm.
Yes, I like it.
I was just thinking gameplay.
He then moved to Aston Villa.
Palace to Villa.
Correct.
Have I? Oh, I don't know. I've got no guess at that stage.
And then he ended his career at Middlesbrough. He only had 3 clubs.
Okay, so the game playing has gone from you saying something last week to me possibly having done him 2 weeks ago.
Did you?
I think so, yeah. Is it Gareth Southgate?
Well, it is St George's Day.
Oh,
We have to do
hey,
the
you
England
thought
manager.
about it.
Thought about it.
There you go.
Did you do it 2 weeks ago?
I
We
think
don't
so.
keep a list, do we? So I have no idea
I
who
think
we've done.
so, yeah.
I might have done the next 2 people we've done last
Can't
week.
remember.
No idea.
Is it? Yeah.
Good
Ricardo
memory.
Fuller, the right back, as you described him. Anyway, yes, Gareth Southgate.
St George's Day. Of course,
It is St
yeah.
George's Day. Was St George's today?
Today. 23rd
Today.
of April.
Wow. What a terrible patriot I am, not knowing. On St.
I
George's
just know
Day.
from Twitter.
No, yes. I know from Facebook, whose algorithm seems to have changed a tad over the past few years, where when you scroll through the feed, it occasionally just shows you groups that you're not in and posts from these groups that they think you'll like.
Yes.
And for some reason, it shows me in a load of... And I'm not mincing my words here when I say racist, because they are just racist. Racist England fan groups, and I don't know why it keeps showing me this content.
At least you don't get posts from Dole Men's Club.
I do get posts from Dole Men's Club. At the end, they just say
posts
really
are quite funny, actually.
They say like really inane things, and then at the end put shoe size and like how tall they are for some reason.
Yeah.
And if they've ever eaten a banana or something. It's such a bizarre group.
Yeah, I haven't followed it yet, but they still come up.
My favourite one is a group called, I think it's like Terrible Charity Shop Art, and it's just people walking into charity shops and taking photos of things that are on the shelves and available to buy in a charity shop, and a lot of them are just total rubbish. It's great fun. Like someone will do a portrait of someone and their EO is on the wrong place and it's not symmetrical. It's great stuff. Anyway, how the heck do we get onto that from Gareth Southgate?
Happy St George's Day to anyone celebrating.
Yeah, I don't know how you correctly celebrate St George's Day.
It's like with St Patrick's Day, you'd have a Guinness. But what do you do on St George's Day?
Fight a dragon? I don't know. I don't know how readily available dragons are to fight in the street. Or
we can't
much
banish
like
snakes,
St George, how about you don't exist and have not done anything? Or it's all lies anyway, isn't it? He's not even from England. He's from like the Middle East somewhere.
That is true, actually.
It's a very strange.
But like many people in
patron
England, our
saint.
best exports are from abroad.
That is true.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I just agree with you. So, shall we move on from Gareth?
Moved on.
Who will, of course, march us all to victory.
Gareth Southgate, of course.
In the summer at the Euros, when we will inevitably lift the trophy.
Well, the squad's been gone up from 24-26, so
I did see that.
yeah.
Yes,
I think that could be quite beneficial.
I agree. I think a bit of does it lessen/lighten the headache that he'll have in selection?
Yeah, I think so. For the actual squad, yeah.
I know what it means. It means he'll pick people who everyone wants him to pick, possibly, because he doesn't, he's got a few more players to play around with, but then he won't play them, and there'll be one player who everyone's clamouring for and going, why aren't you playing this person, even though you've selected them and you still haven't played them? Probably because he doesn't need them, because the squad is too big now. But hey-ho, I look forward to that when we get there, the clamour for a certain person to play. I imagine it'll be like James Maddison or something. It tends to be an attacking midfielder for some reason. It probably will play Calvin Phillips and everyone will be baffled. That's what's going to happen. But we'll still win the whole thing, so that's fun. On to the next.
As we've done with every other tournament after 1966.
Yes, exactly.
Anyway, next one. The first 4 clubs on this player's Wikipedia doesn't have any appearances or goals. So I presume this is sort of like building up to...
Okay, so these are lower league.
I'll just say the 4
standard.
teams in straight away. And shall I say the year so you know where we're?
Yes, go for
Because
it.
it's 1973. He started.
Okay,
So-
so data not quite as well kept in 1973.
Because he started at Llandudno Town,
Ooh,
Bangor
nice.
City, Conway United, and Winsford United. So any Welsh players you can.
Okay, I'm not sure how. Conway City and Winsford United.
Conway United.
Oh,
Bangor
Conway
City.
United. And what did I say?
You said Conway City.
Oh,
And
right,
it's Bangor
okay.
City, Conway United, Winsford United. He started at Llandudno Town
I don't know.
in 1973.
70s. Mickey Thomas. He's Welsh, isn't he?
Yeah, but it's not him.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the first team here with appearances, 39, is Bury.
So, a Welshman who went to Manchester area.
You talking about my family? Go on.
I don't know, Ciaran. I've got no idea on this one at all.
Okay, then this was the club he was. He stayed for 578 appearances after Bury,
Wow.
which was Everton.
The 70s, Everton.
We're in the 80s now,
Oh, the
actually.
80s. I know Andy Gray.
And it goes into the
I
late
know he's
90s.
Scottish, not Welsh.
He stayed there from 81 to 98. He had one or two loans, but you know.
Oh, it's tough. How well do I know Everton players? I don't think that well.
Welsh Everton player.
Welsh Everton players. I've got nothing.
That's all right.
You're stumping me here.
He then went on to play for Stoke City 9 times in 1998.
Is it George Berry?
No, it's not.
Okay, well, he
I've
was
never
Welsh
heard of
and
him.
played for Stoke. He played for Stoke, Wolves, I think.
Ah, okay.
A few other teams. He had a lovely afro.
To be fair, I think if you haven't got it already, you probably won't get it because now his appearances just dwindle and it's
Stoke
just
and
end of his
Everton.
career and he just goes to a load of clubs in like non-league or lower league.
Stoke and Everton. That is a Welsh.
There was only 9 appearances at Stoke
Okay.
in 1 year, so
Everton.
it's hardly it.
Welsh. I've got no idea. We're just gonna have to power through here.
Well, all the rest of the clubs I say: Doncaster Rovers, Torquay United, Bradford City, York City, Real, Shrewsbury Town, Dover Athletic, Shrewsbury Town, Dagenham and Redbridge.
Wow, this
I
is
know.
niche. What's the link? International managers? Is it going to be?
no, it's not.
Oh, is it going to be
That-
like Chris Coleman?
It was Gareth Southgate.
Is it going to be a compass point? Is it going to be someone north? I don't know.
Actually, that works with this one. Actually, they're both blank.
Someone east.
But that wasn't actually
something.
the-
Someone west.
That wasn't actually the
I
link.
don't know. Let's go. for
Anyway,
it.
it's Neville Southall,
Oh, Christ!
goalkeeper.
Big Nev, what a bloke, by the way.
Yeah.
Incredible goalkeeper, and just a lovely man by all accounts. So, well done, Nev. I didn't get you on the quiz, but
Quite a lot of clubs on
yeah,
that list. Some of whom it says 0 appearances. But
Of course, his most famous appearance is at Stoke. It does involve Stoke. It also involves Michael Owen and that soccer skills video at the Beth 365 Stadium, well, the Britannia as it was then, and Neville Southall shouting, "Well done, he's only, what was it, 15.
Huh.
So there you go. I'm going to call.
Okay. So Southgate and Southall.
I don't
Or
think
Seville.
me muting the mic masked that, did it? I
Didn't.
think it probably came through. It's Southgate, Southall.
And now on to our third player.
Okay, are we all south?
No, because I said compass point wasn't the
Oh, yes.
link, so
Um,
the theme. But anyway, shall I go on to the third player, who started his career at Norwich City? Do you want the year?
yes, please.
1991.
Norwich in the 90s. Did Paul Lambert ever play for Norwich? Let's go for Paul
Well, he
Lambert.
definitely managed them, didn't he? But,
I don't know if he played for them. He probably didn't. I'm just-
Well, he's not the player in question here.
Okay. Norwich players from the 90s. Fashnu.
No, it's not.
No.
Actually.
I can't think of any other Norwich players. Continue.
Okay. Blackburn Rovers.
Tim Sherwood.
No, but he was a teammate of Tim Sherwood's in that league-winning side.
Gary Speed. No, is this the wrong team? Who am I thinking of? It's not
Gary-
Blackburn, is it? That's not. Who am I thinking of? Did he play with? Who am I thinking of? I'm thinking of the wrong person here. I can't remember who I'm thinking of now, but I just said Gary Speed for some reason. I presume it's not.
No, it isn't.
No.
No.
It will probably be the person I'm trying to think of now, won't it?
I don't think it will be.
Give us another clue.
He then moved to Chelsea.
Go through these again. Let's say
So it started at Norwich City,
to Blackburn to
Chelsea. And there's a theme between Gareth Southgate, Neville Southall, and this last player. In their
What's the
names.
theme? Neville, Gareth, Southgate, Southall. Is it places? Are they?
I said I was inspired by last night's quiz.
Oh
But, you know.
God! It is named after places, are they? What's? Did we talk about the quiz on there, or is that comment going to be baffling?
What?
I think if you were listening on YouTube, you may have got
yeah,
that comment.
YouTube.
But
'Cause you
we
need
went
to
to a
watch
quiz
on
last
YouTube.
night.
Bonus
and,
content, you see.
there was a round in there that was baffling, and
Niche.
everyone in the pub was not a fan. It was essentially cars that are sort of named after places in some cases, but not in all. I don't know the answer to this one. Shall we move on to the next club if there is one?
Yes, there are 4 more clubs. He then moved to Celtic.
Nope. Next.
Okay, we haven't got it. We haven't got it now.
Oh, Chris Sutton.
Because he then moved to Birmingham City, Aston Villa, and Wroxham, near where he lives in East Anglia. It is, Chris Sutton.
Oh, thank God for that. What a strange.
So Southgate, Southall, Sutton places, and incidentally, all placed in London as well.
Oh, well done.
Which wasn't
You've put
actually the
together an
places, but
actual
yeah.
theme there
was
as
actually,
well.
yeah.
So I do congratulate you.
And all British. Well, I was just about to say on St George, I didn't match now. Southall's Welsh, I don't know.
No.
I was just about to say that. But no.
Well, two of them do
Two of them
anyway.
didn't.
Two of them won't be celebrating, I'm sure. Anyway, that last one had me in absolutely nowhere. On a road to nowhere, in fact, you could say. Here's Talking Heads. I'll be challenging Ciaran afterwards. Hello, stream. We're still going on the YouTubes. I'm going to clarify my players. So, if you want to natter on to everyone on YouTube about something or nothing, go for it.
Well, I think Erik ten Hag should be sacked. That's what we should be talking about.
Okay.
Just, like, how can you survive blowing a 3-goal lead to Coventry?
Happy to have the chat.
Whilst Emery extends his Villa contract 2027, which I think is very good business from Villa. And he was linked with the Bayern Munich job, so it completely shuts down that rumour spreading any further.
It was bubbling under, wasn't it?
Yeah, because even the press officer at Villa on Sunday was like, nope, can't ask any more questions on that after the first one. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. So good business by them then.
Yeah.
What did you make of Villa then?
I thought after Thursday night maybe they started maybe slower than usual, but I still think they had good control of the game in that first half, and they probably did deserve to equalise right on half time. But second half they completely dominated, and they're a very well drilled side. They're very well structured. They didn't give Bournemouth too much in terms of opportunities in front of goal. So I think favourites for the top 4 now, and deservedly so, I think.
Yeah, I think it's
very good,
quite
and a great atmosphere as well.
Quite the position to be in for them, isn't it? They've really Unai Emery's done an incredible job there.
He has,
I think,
and I think if they get that Champions League money,
I don't think anyone has ever really vindicated he's got unfinished business from his time at Arsenal quite as well as he has at Villa. A lot of these times, someone will go, "I've got unfinished business in this league," and then they'll come in and be to put too fine a point on it, just a bit flat and rubbish, frankly.
Or they'll leave after a month.
Whereas he's really done himself. I think he's sort of proven that Arsenal were the problem at the time and not him. And
I agree with
maybe
that.
it's worked out in the best way it could for both parties, to be fair.
Yeah, no, I agree actually. Yeah, if he would be at Arsenal now, like maybe if Arteta was in a fantasy world, just said, I'm leaving in the summer, and then we got Emery in, he'd probably do a much better job, wouldn't he, with younger age group, better atmosphere around the club, less toxic culture. He probably would do better, actually, and that's a good point you raised. Yeah, he's a very impressive manager at the minute.
I do have a theme. The theme has been
what theme?
clarified.
Oh no, you can't say what the theme is, but yeah.
No, not what you say?
No, you can't say what the theme is.
Oh no, I won't say the theme because that'll spoil it for you. You've got to be quizzed on these things. I've also got two of them with the same name, but I'll do them both at the same time because they've got exactly the same names. So.
Some brothers or something, is it?
No, literally the same name, same first and last name. Don't think about that too much. We'll come to explaining it when Talking Heads finish up. How do we think I did at that quiz? I wasn't thrilled.
Yeah, but I thought Southall was quite tough.
I do quite like Neville though. He's good. Good quality on the old Twitters. So always seems like a very nice bloke. And that clip with Michael Owen is just hilarious.
Yeah,
sort of goes down in football history.
Yeah.
So, I'm sad to have missed out on identifying him. But what can you do?
But obviously, if we did do Southgate 2 weeks ago, but then I think you would have got that anyway. If I'd said then England manager or something. Chris maybe a little bit disappointed didn't get that.
Yes.
He's always on the radio. You always hear his old clubs.
He's always on the radio. That doesn't sound like a promotion of him to me. Here we go. We're back in on the radio. Okay, I'm putting Ciaran in the hot seat now.
Oh God.
Again, there is a theme. Your theme when you challenged me was
places, and then they coincidentally places in London as well.
Okay, now I'm going to start off. I don't think it's easy. I said I've got 3 people for you, but I haven't. I've actually got 4 people, but I've got 3 names because 2 of the people have the same name. I'm going to start with the one of the people who has the same name that's got the longest career.
Okay.
And then we'll go on to the person after that.
Let's go for it.
This person started their career in 2002 with Arsenal.
With Arsenal?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he chose the right club to start with, didn't he?
2002 to 2004. It doesn't clarify how many appearances and goals, so I presume this is part of their youth career, I think.
Maybe then, yeah.
Then they move on to Birmingham City, where they make 15 appearances, score 2 goals 15. In 2004 to 2005.
Wow. Unfortunately, don't think I'm going to be able to get it off that.
Then they move back to Arsenal in 2005 to 2009, where they make 72 appearances, scoring 6 goals.
So they're not very prolific in front of goal.
No.
So they're probably further back on the pitch.
Yeah, a defender.
Arsenal. Birmingham Arsenal.
Okay.
This is a good
How
one.
are you feeling? The detention?
Not very confident at the minute. I can't really think of many players who fit that bill right now.
Then move to Boston Breakers from 2009 to 2011, making 55 appearances.
So he's obviously useless at Arsenal.
Well, if you know who Boston Breakers are, you have just figured out this question. If you don't know who Boston Breakers are, you haven't.
I've never heard them.
Okay.
So,
They then move back to Arsenal from 2012 to 2018, making 76 more appearances for them. I know, the bafflement. Think about Boston Breakers, and if you've ever really heard of them before, that might answer half of your question.
I have never.
Okay, that's person 1 with the same name. Next person, same name as that last person.
Okay.
Separate out. Started their career at Guernsey in 2019.
Ooh. 2019.
Young.
Wow, young then. I'm gonna have to go for next again, please.
They then moved on where they found their fame mostly at Bristol City from 2020 to 2023.
Alex Scott.
It is indeed.
You did a female player.
Alex
And I was thinking
Scott.
men's again. Cheeky man. That makes sense.
Yes, it's Alex Scott, the Bournemouth player, who's now at AFC Bournemouth from the start of this season.
That was clever.
And also Alex Scott, the female footballer and presenter, who of course Boston Breakers could have been the one you got it on, were an American professional soccer club.
I've read
a
Alex
women's
Scott's autobiography
soccer
as well.
club. The team did compete in the NWSL. So that's why when you were saying can't have gone very well at Arsenal,
well, actually did
went
go
really
quite
well. It's quite a good move
an excellent move
for Alex Scott. Both of them. There you go. So
I
that's
take back
one
all
name.
my comments from
The theme will emerge, I feel, with this next one. 2005 to 2010, 138 appearances for Manchester City.
Sean Wright Phillips. It's not. That's the only player I can think of.
It is not Sean Wright Phillips. 2005 to 2010 at Man City, then move to spend 4 years with Aston Villa, making 47 appearances. 4 years on the books there. Some of those did involve loans, which we'll move on to in a moment.
Okay. It won't be like Gareth Barry. I know that he was at Man City.
Time at Man City is about right, and time at Villa is about right, to be fair, isn't it? Because he was at both. However, this player went on. I'm just going to go through the 2 loan spells now. In 2011, on loan for 2 games at Newcastle United. Disregard that. I don't think I can't remember that for the life of me. The one I remember though, from 2013 to 14, on loan at Stoke City.
Oh well, quite
Indeed. Where then he signed permanently and spent 4 years there from 2014 to 2018.
It's not like Glenn Whelan who we did the other week, was it?
No, he was there from promotion onwards.
Oh, right.
So not quite, no. The theme, we had Alex Scott so far. Think on. I don't really know how to give you any more suggestion. But he does have one more club left, but I feel it doesn't count because in 2018 he didn't play for Bolton Wanderers. He went to Bolton for 0 appearances apparently. So he finished his career ostensibly at Stoke City. Think grandmas. That tends to help with this one. If you don't know the story, that sounds like a really weird thing to say.
That sounds a very weird thing to say.
Okay, think dead grandmas. No, if you don't know the story, it's not helping. Fabulous. I'll give you... Okay, he also played and made 6 appearances, getting 6 caps for the Republic of Ireland.
Wow.
It's... No?
If you've only got 6 caps for the Republic of Ireland, then sorry, you're not amazing.
Okay, are we ready to hear the answer?
I'm happy because I have no idea.
It is Stephen Ireland.
Wow.
Who, of course...
Well, at least I've heard of him, but I'm not.
The grannies thing is that he, while he was at Man City and at Villa, he called in sort of multiple times, took time off due to dead grandparents. But he did that more times than grandparents that he actually had. So some of those times mustn't have been true. Is the way the story apparently goes. But yeah, think on Alex Scott, Stephen Ireland. Spot a theme yet? On to the next then. No theme between Alex Scott and Stephen Ireland.
No, not mine.
The next one began their career at Doncaster Rovers
Oh,
Bells. In 2011 to 2015, making 79 appearances, scoring 28 goals.
Ellen
Also
White.
had a short loan spell in 2011 on loan at Sheffield Wednesday. It's not Ellen
No.
White.
Don't know. You're gonna have to go to the next one, please.
From 2016 to 2023, this person, let's just say she, we figured that out with the Bells part, played for Chelsea for 99 appearances, scoring 45 goals. Alex Scott, Stephen Ireland.
Eni Aluko.
It is not Eni
I have
Aluko.
no idea what the theme is, so...
2023, this person left Chelsea.
Oh, it's definitely not.
Also spent time in 2017 to 18 on loan at Liverpool, and is now at Spurs. Alex Scott, Stephen Ireland. What's the theme?
I have no idea. Alex Scott and Stephen Ireland is a theme.
Scott Ireland. Player for Tottenham now. Female player for Tottenham. Used to play for Chelsea.
It's Drew Spence. She
Woman.
did use to-
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, yes. I was thinking of
That's-
Jed Spencer for some reason. Plays for Tottenham. I can't give you... Has made 26 caps for England. Was in the squad for the Women's Euros and World Cup. The theme is Scott Ireland.
Bethany, England. You going down the home nations route.
There you go. The home
Sort of works, yeah,
nations.
yeah.
Oh, that was a weird mashup. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. Ta-da! Well done. Bethany,
thank you.
England is the correct answer. Home nations was indeed the route that I
Wow.
chose.
The Welsh aren't going to be very happy though. Where's the that
no, I
representation?
couldn't think of...
Northern
I was going
Ireland
to do
as
the
well?
ref.
Where's Northern Ireland?
I was going to do the ref. What's it? Rebecca Welch. Which doesn't really count. I couldn't think of Irving Welch again. A writer, not a footballer. So not at all helpful there. But yes, I compiled some home nation.
So we've had a bit of a
based
geography
links.
theme throughout R2 then.
We have indeed. We were just so inspired, much like everyone in the pub last night, by that round about
Someone's
cars
team
from
name
places.
was the Trivia Trail drove us mad.
Yes, the round was
So
called
that was the
Trivia
best
Trail
one.
because they all linked together in some way. Yeah, just Trivia Trail drove us mad was their team name, and I don't blame them because
Yeah.
it drove us mad as well. But anyway, that was the quiz.
Oh, good one.
We'll be back with I think we have the usual features. I haven't checked.
Yeah, we do, but
Okay, as per usual, not much in them, but
no.
what a great sell that was. It's worth carrying on listening to. Look,
Still
Stevie
listens.
Nicks is coming on now, and then we'll be back to talk about the usual features. Okay, currently playing on Phantom Radio is Stevie Nicks with Edge of 17. It's a cracking tune. If you'd rather be listening to that than listening to us here on the YouTube stream, then please go ahead and listen on the radio. But you've chosen YouTube for whatever reason. So here we are.
Well, 9 minutes ago, BBC Sport have reported that Feyenoord's manager Arne Slot is a leading candidate to take over as Liverpool manager at the end of the season.
Wow, he had a lot of sort of...
There's a lot of
There was a
people
lot
going
of
around
clamour
now, isn't there?
for Onslaught about 6 months ago. I can't remember what job was up, but everyone was saying it was going to be him, and then it didn't end up being. Was it Man United?
Oh, it said he ruled himself out contention for Tottenham Hotspur job last summer, and is believed to be interested in Barcelona and Bayern Munich.
So, crucially, Liverpool not listed on what he's interested in.
Well,
He's interested in Bayern, but Liverpool might put their all in, because as mentioned last week, Ruben Amorim, he's sort of dropped out.
West Ham.
Yeah,
though.
I was going to say West Ham
that
seem
would
to
be
be
a better fit, maybe.
He seems to favour West Ham more than Liverpool. What does that say?
Yeah, but
about
maybe he
Liverpool?
thinks if I go to Liverpool, it big job from Sporting.
You've
maybe,
got to somehow better
stone.
Jurgen
I
Klopp.
don't know. Yeah. I think it is a tough job to better Jurgen Klopp.
I
How many people can do
think
that?
you possibly do have to wait until someone goes in, sort of screws it off a bit.
Well,
and
you
then
just said about
come
Emery
in.
at Arsenal.
Exactly,
We
be a
just
bit
said
of the
same thing.
saviour. It just you need that breathing space between the person who created an empire at the club, essentially, like
Somebody failed.
Arsene Wenger did, and Klopp has essentially done at Liverpool. You need time for that to fade away to be able to truly come in and build something, don't you? You can't just build from already quite sturdy foundations that have just sort of been left there now, and you've got to deal with that. You can't really imprint your own thing on it, can you? So maybe it is a risk taking that job early, but
I think it
I
would
suppose
be.
we'll see.
Because then the fan demands as well might be still pretty high. One in Champions League, one in Premier League every year. So
that is indeed true. What we're doing. We get a lot less professional when we're not on there. Just dead silence then.
Well, we still got Championship action to talk about as well after
we
the
do?
break, because obviously that was a big
We
weekend.
Stoke did their bit.
Yeah.
I'm happy now, is all I'm going to say. Spoiler alert for when we come back in on the radio and say...
Also, have you seen on the Google Doc the weird European competition a 9-year-old from Derbyshire won?
No.
Oh, wow.
Wow, I thought I checked the running order. Did you put a link in?
I have for LinkedIn.
Goal screeching.
It was on Radio 2 this morning. He was on Radio 2.
Was
he
he
did the
screeching
goal
like
noise.
a goal?
If you just walked in that moment and you just heard the goal, you'd think, oh, a seagull. You'd not have thought it was a 9-year-old ball from Chesterfield.
Oh, there you go.
Incredible.
The magic of radio.
He went to Belgium and he won the kids' competition in goal screeching.
I feel for him. He went to Belgium. What a... Sorry, I don't...
You don't like
I literally
Belgium?
have nothing against Belgium whatsoever. I just felt like saying it. What can I say? Fair enough. That sounds odd. We'll talk about that, shall we? We've also got On This Day and the Pascal Chimbonda update, which I was alluding to before we went to this song break.
Skelmersdale are down now. I think we're just waiting for the end of the season with Pascal, aren't we? See what his next steps are.
Yes. I don't know whether we will find out what those
let's talk
next
about the FA
steps
Cup
are.
replays, actually.
Of course.
Yeah,
This is
that's a
big
big
news. How
topic.
we neglected to talk about this.
Because
as of
obviously,
yet.
that ties them to Skelmersdale because they're one of the clubs who released a statement.
Yes, that's true. There was a nice graphic put up with just basically every team who's involved in the FA Cup in a list, and then just the teams Premier League teams who were the ones who were consulted on the decision to scrap replays, just
red,
highlighted in red. And
very powerful.
I scanned it up and down, went, "Oh, Leek Town are there," because it was in alphabetical
Hungerford were
order.
there, yeah.
Went to find your local club and have a look. Yeah, terrible. Bit of a scandal, really, when you think about it.
It is, yeah.
But yeah. Anywho, we
still got a
coming
bit to talk
back
about,
in
don't
on the
we?
radio.
Yeah,
14 seconds. Can't remember what we said we were coming in on. You can bring us back in, Ciaran. Bit of Stevie Nicks. Hello. Welcome back to the Phantom Radio Sports Show.
The usual features now. We bigged them up so much. We've still got to do them.
We have indeed,
First
despite the
up.
fact that they've sort of died out of it.
Yeah. First up, should we do
Smooth.
the Pascal Chimbonda update? Yeah, it's getting a bit slow, isn't it? Because obviously we're just waiting for the end of the season now. We're waiting to see Pascal's next steps.
Essentially, you're repeating what you said last week.
Yeah, well, it's true though, isn't it? And it hasn't really got any better for him because they lost 3-0 at the weekend to Wythenshawe. They're already relegated, but you thought maybe the pressure off them, they might have got a few results, but they're still losing, unfortunately. And the other thing from the club is that they have also, among many others, released a statement saying that they're against the scrapping of FA Cup replays, which we will come on to after our other feature.
Well, that was... There we go. Now it's time for what's happened, Ciaran.
No, there's no happy birthdays today. We're going to be more professional this week. 4 years ago today, Shane Long scored the fastest goal in Premier League history for Southampton in a 1-1 draw at Watford. How long do you think it took him, Alfie?
Why don't I know this? This is like a football trivia 101, isn't it? Is it going to be 12 seconds? 20 something.
He's had a cup of tea in that time.
What? 7 seconds?
Yeah, 7.69 seconds.
Why did I pluck 7 out? Maybe I did know it's somewhere in the.
And I found this very interesting as well. In 1977, Czech chess master
Gary Kasper. Oh, sorry. I only know one chess master. That's Gary Kasper.
Oh, it didn't sound Czech.
Kasparov? That's right, isn't it? Go for it.
Vlastimil Hort played 201 games of chess simultaneously.
Well, how does that work?
Do you know how many he lost?
1.
No, 10.
200.
10. But to only lose 10 of 201 games simultaneously, that is incredible. So I thought I'd give that a shout out, even though it was in 1977.
The mental acuity involved in that achievement is something that I frankly can't fathom.
I wouldn't be able to play 2 games at once.
I was going to say, I can barely think about 2 things at once. Never mind play a game. 201 competitive
and also, it
games.
takes me about 10 minutes just to move. Going through all of them and thinking,
Was he on a time limit for all these 201 games?
Well, in professional chess you are, aren't you? So if this is going down the professional route, I presume he would be.
How strange. It's a strange achievement, but it's a real one.
Yeah,
so congratulations to him. From 1980, whenever
77,
it was.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
And that concludes...
Oh, I can't find the button. No. It's going so well today. Look, normally we're smoother than this. I don't know what's happened.
Should we talk about those FA Cup replays? Scrapping on them?
We shall, because
another scandal
is yet another example of the big boys and the cats that have the cream taking all that cream and running off with it, which be spreading out all the wealth of the game. As we mentioned when we did quite a scathing review of the finances of football just before Easter, I think we probably neglected to see this one coming down the road, because it has been a discussion that has happened frequently over the past few years, and it is just a blatant example of the people with the power at the top of the game showing just how much they don't really care for those at the bottom, and when they say that they do, it is just ultimately platitudes.
You're going to say another word then, weren't you? I think I saw you.
Go ahead. you respond while I try and not say anything.
Well, I agree, Alfie. I think it is a disgrace, to be honest with you. The thought of getting to the first round of the FA Cup, being at home, and then holding a team higher up, and being able to have an away day, get more revenue, get more money. These are the days that teams cherish. Even if they get thrashed 6-0, they don't really care. It's a great day out, it's a great experience for everyone at that football club, and for that to now just be taken away, it's absolutely gutting for everyone, because this money means a lot. Non-league clubs don't have a lot to go off, especially smaller clubs like your Leeds Town or your Hungerford Towns don't have that big owner. And this is what you thrive on.
We're thinking and talking about this off the back of a few weeks ago, again just before Easter, the Premier League mincing their words and statements over handing money down to the clubs at lower levels and refusing, for ages refusing to negotiate over that, and basically filibustering on their position of giving enough money to grassroots causes and teams below them and spreading that wealth out. So in every aspect, I just think that you look at this, the power is, where is the power? It's in the Premier League's hands, and maybe that's not where it should be at all. And if we have a regulator coming in which we do.
Mm.
I think it will be interesting to see whether they manage to wield any sort of influence over the Premier League here.
What Andy Burnham, the
Mayor of Manchester.
Yeah, he actually put forward a suggestion on X or Twitter.
Formerly Twitter,
Yeah.
you're obliged to say
Yeah.
yes.
With a plan basically to put in law that replays from first round onwards can't be scrapped in law. That's what he thinks should be put in the bill. Which is quite ambitious.
It's both ambitious and also sort of... I don't know how, from a political perspective, how you can warrant that parliamentary time to say that you're going to... Because as much as
what
we
should
all
we talk
want to
about
say,
today? Israel or FA Cup replay?
well, this is the thing. You're a new Labour government
Yeah.
who's just got in, and
well, Conservatives can still win. We've got to be
remove...
Can't be biased here.
It's not biased to suggest that the polls are more than likely true. It would
Liberal
be biased
Democrats,
to suggest that
come on.
the Tories have ruined the economy and therefore there's a big job on for Labour. But I'm going to say, if you have a Labour persuasion, that's what you'd believe. And let's be honest, there is a big job on there. And so how high on the priority list will making FA Cup replays into law be?
Top.
For the government? I imagine not quite that high. So where's the solution there? I don't know. But the regulator will certainly be a thing that comes into force, and how much force they have will be quite interesting to see. We spoke about this on the YouTube stream off air just before we came on to talk about this, but the graphic that's gone round, I can't remember who made it. Maybe it was...
I don't know. Maybe
I genuinely don't know. Maybe it was the National League. Although it could just be some person.
Yeah.
But a graphic with a list of all the names of all the teams who are stakeholders involved in the FA Cup competition at some point. And then in red, all the other teams were in grey, and in red were the 20 teams who were actually consulted on the decision-making process of whether replay should remain. Just the Premier League teams. And so you look at all these teams in grey, all of them teams that, well, most of them, obviously championship teams are of a certain level financially, but most of these teams all would really rely on that money from replays, and it could make or break a season or even, their whole financial situation. It's baffling.
Yeah. FA Cup money goes so far for these non-league clubs.
I think we really underrate how big of a competition it is.
It is so big.
Both in scale, about, how far down the pyramid it goes, and then it goes to the very bottom pretty much.
You've got us a scoreboard at Uncle Town.
Exactly. And
that may sound minimal, but it
exactly,
increases...
it
well,
matters.
because it doesn't work half time. But it does increase the match day experience when it does work. Can be bothered to work.
These things matter. It's the difference between being able to pay people to do a job for you and not being able to do that. It's... yeah, a big thing.
So I think replay should... It would probably be more beneficial if the replays weren't before the first round and the replays came in at the first round.
Yes, at the first round. Yeah, so we specifically involved the Premier League teams. What we should have is mandatory replay. So even if they win, they have to do it again. That's what I want.
2-leg.
Or an alternative... I mean, if we are saying that because of UEFA and FIFA and scheduling that is enforced upon the big teams who obviously have a more tight schedule. I mean, boo-hoo, the team that has the most money to spend and builds the best team in the world. Well, guess what?
Best
the reward
physios,
for that is more games, more competitions, and you've got the money off the back of theoretically off the back of your success. You should be able to build a team that can withstand the schedule. So boo-hoo. But anyway, if that's the route we're going down, that's the argument you're going to take. Okay, then how do we compensate for the fact that you're actively taking money away from teams? Oh, I don't know, maybe let's give them some money. That thing that you refused to do a few months ago. So maybe the alternative is that whether you're drawn home or away and you're a Premier League team, maybe you have to give a certain percentage of the revenue to the away team if they're lower league.
Yep, definitely.
That is one solution. The other is, as previously mentioned, just generally spreading the wealth further down a bit more. and
That's
not
just happened anyway.
kicking the
shouldn't it?
can
Yeah.
down the road on doing that consistently. Again, hopefully a regulator can come in and actually sort these things out.
Yeah.
We've only got 8 minutes
Should we
to
talk
show
about the
left,
Championship?
so yeah, let's
It was a
natter on
good
about the
weekend
Championship.
for Stoke City, wasn't it? Are you safe now? 3-0 win over Plymouth?
I'm saying so because Plymouth were the team that, I mean, look, I've embarrassed myself over the past few weeks. I said Plymouth, I'm not sure how much fight they have. They went ahead and beat Leicester, so don't listen to me about any of this
Well,
stuff.
they lost 3-0 to Stoke, though. That's not...
But then, yes, lost 3-0 against Stoke, and I think personally where we are now in the table is in a position of it's so in our hands that even if we slightly drop it a bit, we've got time to pick it back up again and have a... Because I thought we needed probably 2 points, end up on 50. You're about right a few weeks ago, and we would have been safe. So the position we're in now, I'm quite happy that we seem to be above the group who are really going for it and fighting amongst themselves, and to have beaten one of the teams amongst that group just puts us in a stronger position, really. So we're in the Championship next season is what I'm going to say now, and hope that something dreadful doesn't happen, and then I'm absolutely humbled in a few weeks. But it's looking not great, but you know, nice, safe. The other side of Stoke-on-Trent, however, not safe on the drop. Darren Moore, who we spoke about on this show when he was appointed. We also spoke about a statement that Port Vale's owners put out in support of their director of football halfway through the season, who they did end up sacking in the end, eventually. And we have covered Port Vale this season. At times they have gone down. Darren Moore, of course,
surprised that it hasn't got a bit more reaction out of him. No, maybe not surprised they've gone down, but without a fight, maybe.
Well, Darren Moore appointed for a contract that was pretty lengthy,
5 years.
Quite an interesting one, especially for Port Vale's level. And
He's
I
got
think
time to rebuild them when they then get relegated to the National League next
this
season
is the thing. However you view Darren Moore and whether you think he's underrated or overrated,
he's a
or
nice guy.
however rated you think he is and whatever level you think he's at. Personally, I think he would rate himself at a higher level than Port Vale.
Yes.
Whether that's right or wrong, I
agree with
thought
that.
that he would have rated himself higher than that. So it's interesting in the first place that he took the job. Can you imagine him sticking around in League Two? I think it's so strange. Because from one season,
year.
he's taken Sheffield Wednesday up, and then not been given a chance there for various reasons, for daring to ask for more money for the job that he'd done. I mean, baffling. And then obviously that all ended in tears for everyone involved, and it could, end up with Sheffield Wednesday going straight back down, as it looks like it's reasonably likely.
Possible, yeah.
And then he ends up at a relegation battle in the league that he just got out of. And then losing that battle. So I don't think he sticks around, but it's quite an interesting...
Well, I think if Port Vale start well and they're going to go up or whatever, then he'll stick around, get them up and try and again League One with them. But I think if they're just going to be mid-table, if they're just going to be rubbish, he'll jump ship.
Because if we look at the trend of League Two, the teams that really challenge are the teams that have gone up this season.
Not the teams that dropped down. Forest Green, 2 in a row now.
Forest Green dropped down twice. Could Vale do that? And if you look at the teams that gone up, Stockport, again, team that went up recently from the National League, and then Wrexham, again, but also a team that have just gone up from the National League. So, and there is a trend of that a few years back again. Forest Green did that; they went up and then up again. So, the evidence of past years aren't in Vale's favour in this case. So it's interesting to see if he'll stick around. I doubt he will, though.
That's one to keep an eye on then, isn't it?
It is indeed. I'm thinking in the Championship, Birmingham, will they go down?
Can't beat Rotherham. Then that's a problem, because near enough every team recently have comfortably swept them aside. So I think it's a big concern because
they have dropped into the bottom 3 now.
Because they've got Huddersfield away. Well, obviously Huddersfield need the points as well, even more desperately, really, than Birmingham, because they're obviously a point or 2 further back. So that would be tough. And then they've got Norwich at home on the final day, who are obviously flying playoffs. I can't.
A tough test for Gary Rowett's
Yeah, Sheffield
men.
Wednesday winning at the weekend. So I think they might just stay up now ahead of Birmingham. I don't know. It's all too
It's
tight.
interesting. It is all too tight. Now, before we go, you got
Can't
a little
hold it.
something different for us that you heard on Radio 2 this morning.
I did hear on Radio 2 this morning. We should be covering bigger stories than this, but we've reached this time in the show. So, a 9-year-old boy from Chesterfield somehow, out of the blue, found out he was really good at making seagull noises. No idea how you'd find that out.
Incredible.
Then his parents found out. Again, no idea how you found this out. But there is a seagull screeching European Championships in Belgium. And so obviously, the parents go, our kid can win the kids competition of that. We're going to take him to Belgium. And he only went and won it. He didn't just do traditional seagull noises. He did an angry seagull, a happy seagull.
He's got the emotions in there and everything.
Yes, he did the seagull wanting the chip from your fish and chips. He absolutely smashed it. He got the highest score out of anyone there, and he is the goal screeching kids champion of Europe.
The goal screeching champion of Europe.
Pretty much, yeah.
Fabulous. I mean, any noises you could make to a competitive level, or no?
I tried earlier when I was listening to him, and no, I'm not going to try on here.
It just sort of sounds like I don't know. You've got to generate some noise, like a whistle from the back of your throat.
He said it really hurts his voice after a while, and he needs a drink to really help him.
It's going to be like when you put a youth player through the system a bit too fast, and then they end up getting injured, and all their promise goes to waste too early. He can't wreck his throat if he wants to be a long time goal screeching champion. You've got to keep these things up. The training regime will be tough, I imagine. Sure, you don't want to give us a go at goal screeching?
No. I also thought, even though it was a coastal Belgium town, wow. I was thinking, why Belgium?
Sorry, that screech has really taken it out of me. My throat is wet now.
Yeah.
He's not wrong. Why Belgium? Famously,
like Brighton would have been better, surely.
Famously, goals come from Belgium. Obviously, I'm saying that as from a place of ignorance. I have no idea. What a way, by the way, to end the show.
Yeah, no. He took a day off school today to do all the interviews for this.
Well, look, writing into the headmaster to say, by the way, I'm on Radio 2 this morning, so I can't come in for, maths.
With Jeremy Vine as well.
Oh, with Jeremy Vine. You can screech like a gull. Are you going to do it for us live on air? Yes. Are you a cyclist? No. Oh, I don't like you anymore. Get off my show. He didn't go with a GoPro and attempt to get ran over by a seagull, did he? That's what I imagine Jeremy does with his spare time. You're in the wrong, mate. Yeah, and then he does a really dramatic edit of a video.
End of the Phantom Radio Sports Show.
This is the end of the Phantom Radio Sports Show. You've been joined by me, Alfie Dickin, him,
Ciaran Morrison,
and me, Ken Bruce. I don't know, I just felt like doing
special
the impression.
guest, Ken Bruce just arrived.
Also, Alex Walker, thanks for joining us earlier for something slightly more serious than the absolute car crash at the end of this show. This is... Aha! Take on me.